teams are going to be participating, who's going to be competing, who's going to be fighting for the opportunity to represent us internationally at MSI. And right now, LYON is up 1-0 over Shopify. And even though Shopify lost game number 1, they were in a great spot for the early game. It just really all came down to that bottom side river fight, where Saint got the triple kill, and then the Azir train never stopped.
Yep, they got very far ahead off of that for Saint. I mean, he was really, really strong throughout that game. I will say, I think Shopify, a lot of it was kind of about fight selection too. They created the really big lead by attacking side lanes, by, finding these little plays. And then it felt like they just kind of stopped doing that and said, all right, we have our lead now. It's time to 5v5. And LYON played out the 5v5s better. They had a really strong kind of death ball style comp that was very effective in the 5v5s. And I feel like Shopify, instead of continuing to play through sides and just continuing to look for picks and kind of slowly grinding their advantage out in that way, just wanted to straight up force those 5v5s. It did not work out. So now I'm curious to see what the pivots will be here in draft.
Okay, well, Shopify have elected to go for first pick, so LYON is playing from the blue side. LYON banning away the Ori, the Nocturne, and the Karma. Over on the Shopify side, we've got Varus, Nautilus, and Xin Zhao banned away, as first pick Bard for Shopify comes in.
Yeah, Bard going to be very highly prized here. I always find it interesting. I mean, Bard is a strong laner, and yes, Seraphine is gone, Nami is gone, Karma is banned, so it is kind of seen as one of those really high prio laners. And I think people do prefer it above the Lulu, but we might just have Lulu Yunara as the response because that is kind of the next enchanter duo that we have available. And quite honestly, it's just enchanters these days. Like, that is it. I mean, you look at all the most played champions, that is pretty much all that is being played in support. At the most picked right now, it's Lulu, then Seraphine, then Bard, then Karma, then Nami, and then beyond that, you can start getting some of these more like engaged champs or poke champs like Nico and Nautilus and so on. But yeah, it is pretty heavily dominated by enchanters. So those are the 2 of the top 5 that were not banned or taken away, and so that's what you're getting, buddy.
Okay, you've got pick stats. How about some win stats? Because they just came up on our screen. Yunara is 1-6. Lulu is 0-6. These 2 champions are the 2 cheeks of the same butt. Both of them are terrible in the way that they've been played in North America so far. I'm not saying they're objectively bad. Yeah. I'm just saying that in North America, this has not worked. Now, whether or not that's about their priority in the draft, whether or not that's about how teams play around them, I don't care. I'm focusing on the results. And the results are Yunara Lulu has not been winning games. So what I'm looking at for LYON now is, how do you change that?
Well, you try to not get stomped in the 2v2 by Caitlyn and Bard, because that is going to be the question, right?
Yikes.
I think that is generally how a lot of the lanes are decided, for Yunara Lulu is, okay, so when we go back to lock-in, I feel like people were not playing properly against Yunara Lulu, and they were always getting caught by these level 1 extended trades where, the Q gets stacked for Yunara, and you're going for this trade, and then all of a sudden, they pop heal for a speed up, and they take this long extended trade with the Q stacked and with lethal tempo, and teams would just lose the lane to Yunara Lulu level 1. And teams got more and more comfortable playing against that, disengaging it, playing around the Q stacks. And now Yunara Lulu is not able to very frequently get a good level 1. And that just means that you kind of lose your big point of strength in the early game. So after that, I feel like it's just about loss mitigation. You're not going to be able to actually beat the Bard and the Caitlyn in a lane where they don't give you that free level 1 or free extended trade. So it's going to be about dodging as many skill shots as you can, keeping your health high, keeping your farm high, and waiting for Inspired or someone to come bail you out. It's about the team fighting. And so I think that's the question, is can they actually just kind of hold on in that 2v2 where Bvoy and Seos are going to be trying to snowball this. They're going to be trying to constantly look for plays, Qs into traps, tempered fade into traps, looking for these kill opportunities.
And remember that Bvoy and Seos had a good laning phase against the Ashe Seraphine in the previous game, right? Like, their Corki Nami was putting in some work up until the fateful bottom side river fight happened. We do have parity in our first 3 picks this time around. Last time it wasn't entirely mirrored. This time it is. So it's all solo lane bans here in the second half of the draft. Mbessa and Aurora banned out by Shopify. LYON getting rid of TF and Annie.
And a big part of their success in that 2v2 was that Contractz ganked early, and then Contractz and Zinie moved down and ganked again later, right? And we're able to get the kill after that. And Contractz is on a really good early ganking jungler once again. He had Pantheon last game. This time he has Jarvan. So we'll see if he's going to be able to get anything done with that. Akali, it feels like it actually could be a Akali here, even though Akali blind is pretty rare because of the bans. And so, yeah, TF is banned out, Annie is banned out, and they're kind of just saying, you don't really have a good counter from this point. We'll see if Zinie is going to prove him wrong. Vex would be really interesting because you can't actually fear Akali in the Shroud. I don't know that they would have the confidence to actually lock this. It depends how practiced Zinie is on the pick, but is a cool option here. And I think could synergize well with the Jarvan. We're actually going to get it. So first time so far, this split. Vex is not a common pick whatsoever.
I forgot she was in the game. I'm looking up the name of her abilities right now. League Wiki Vex.
I mean, Vex is barely played at all globally. There are some players who kind of have a Vex pocket pick, and they bring it out from time to time. But this is the first game this split period, like, you know, in the LCS, and let's see globally if it has been played much this split. Yeah, no, not at all. 0 games that I see globally.
All right, I feel better about
not even just top 4, not even just top 4, like period in any of the regional leagues or anything. So it is not played a lot at all. In lock-in, you know, whatever you want to call that, like for the other leagues, everyone had their own name for it. Yeah. But it was played a handful of times, but still not at all in those top leagues. So Vex, definitely a deep pocket pick. Going to be excited to see how Zinie does against Saint. This is cool. If he has kind of like a secret pick here prepared for an Akali, I'm down for it.
Especially, like you're saying, this pick that is almost never played for any reason ever. If this is the secret sauce to counter the Akali, okay, drop it. Let's see what's going on. Because we talk about Saint popping off in game number 1, but it was a very even game state between Zinie and Saint up until that bottom side fight where Saint got hyper accelerated.
Yep, and Zinie does have 2 games of Vex in his career, 0 and 2 on the pick, but doesn't really mean that much. It's just 2 games.
Yeah, the sample size
is almost nothing, right? Yeah. You know, when people bring out Vex, it had generally been people for a while were trying to use it as an answer into LeBlanc and just generally dash champs, right? Because of how the passive interacts, where you get the kind of powered auto when people are dashing around, and obviously having the fear to be able to answer when a champion like LeBlanc or Akali jumps in, and you could hit them with that fear is quite powerful. I will say, though, I don't know if their dive is going to be enough to actually get through the Lulu and actually burst down someone like the Yunara. And I'm kind of like, who is your target besides Lulu or Yunara? It's like really just Yunara is the main one for your ultimate. And when you're in a situation like that, it always feels hard in a team fight, right? It's like you have to shoot it around Dhokla. And yeah, you could hit Saint, but if he hits Shroud at the same time, even if he's feared, you're not really killing him there.
You got to curve the bullet to always hit the AD carry.
Yeah, and that always feels tough because Berserker can flash it, Berserker can RE and dash out of it. So we'll see how effective it's going to be, because sometimes you bring out this counter, you're like, yeah, I'm going to slam him in the 1v1. You go up 20 CS, and then you can't play the team fights at all because your champion sucks.
Yep, it's something we'll have to keep our eyes on alongside this bottom lane here with the Caitlyn Bard, like you're talking about. Can Yunara and Lulu mitigate the losses that you're expected to take against this powerful laning duo? But in game number 1, it really did all come down to the mid laners. I feel like the fact that Saint got ahead and then just became this absolute monster as the game went on. His Azir just defined the team fights. The fact that he stuck around that dragon fight, that 4th dragon fight where he ends up baiting Shopify into 2 extra deaths, and then they end up taking the Baron right after. He just, like, Saint had an awesome game.
Yep, and Saint felt very confident, said on the Shopify Rebellion podcast, I don't remember losing to Zinie, trust me. So definitely, Zinie saying that about Saint, you know, feeling very confident about the matchup. Zinie was extremely hyped up, you know, from the LCKCL, had a lot of success there, so obviously is a strong player and still just looking to kind of find his footing. We've had a number of players like this coming over, and some of them have, you know, some immediate success, some of them takes a while, so it'll be interesting to see how Zinie progresses, but Contractz able to get a nice little invade, and Inspired just has to back it up because he was still level 2 and Contractz is level 3.
Level 3 versus level 2 is quite a power discrepancy, so Inspired just immediately chooses to retreat, loses his red buff to Contractz. It's a nice early start there for the Jarvan. And meanwhile, bottom lane, a good binding there from Sayo sets up Bvoy to put some damage into Berserker's health bar.
Yeah, Berserker was looking for that aggressive trade like I was talking about. He got the Q stack, they pop the heal from Miles, he runs in, but he gets tagged by that binding from Sayo as that fight was expiring, and then being able to hit the 90 caliber net, setting up for the headshot. Bvoy gets a really big trade back. They force the barrier. That is big, as now they have the additional summoner advantage. And Contractz did a really interesting path as well. He did all small camps to get down there super fast. So he did Raptors, Wolves, and Gromp, and then crossed and met him at his red. So pretty creative pathing here from Contractz, and something you love to see.
Yeah, and he finds the max range EQ onto Inspired there as well. He takes the crab and just immediately decides to brawl with the enemy jungler. Inspired, forced to flash over the wall as Contractz keeps the pressure on.
Nicely done. Contractz also spotting him on that ward, so he's able to push him back and getting that flash out. I will say this split feels oddly familiar to the start of lock-in to me.
Okay.
You know, when we were starting off, you know, LYON came in, and a lot of people were thinking, okay, LYON could be pretty good. Some people were thinking, oh, they might not be that hot in lock-in. But they started out, they were having their struggles. They were picking up some losses. Back in lock-in, I also remember very clearly a series against Dignitas where they kind of squeaked by. They did lose a game. They needed a heroic performance from Inspired against Photon's Kennen to actually even be able to take that series, or otherwise they would have lost it. And that was even Dignitas with the sub-bot lane at that point during lock-in. And then they come into the second split. Obviously, they dominated in playoffs. So I think a lot of people were expecting that LYON would just come in and just be stomping everyone again, right?
Right.
And be in that peak playoff form. But I do think they have stumbled a little bit. You know, it's not a big concern. It's only a couple weeks in, but they did lose to Cloud9, and then they did drop a game against Dignitas. So they have not been as dominant as we were expecting. And even game one against Shopify, they got pretty far behind. And for a team whose early game was even looking really good at first stand against some of the best teams in the world, I am a little bit surprised to see that their form is looking a little bit different.
And funny enough, it's kind of this sort of global phenomenon, the first stand hangover, right? You look at the teams that represented their regions, like BLG, who ends up winning the whole thing, right? Like, you've got G2 over in the LEC. I mean, G2 also has shenanigan regular seasons in general, and then they turn on in playoffs.
But Gen G and G2 are losing some too.
Right, yeah. It's just like everybody who went to first stand kind of just has this debuff on them that they have to shake off.
Well, Seos is going to be looking mid here. Saint should be fine, but you know, and if you didn't catch the interview that I did with Inspired earlier, his explanation was kind of, you know, that they're trying new things. He was saying we wanted to try to play more chaotic, and they want to try to play a game, you know, where there are crazy things happening, because his thought process was, hey, we played really well when the games were controlled, and when things started going bad and it was really chaotic, it was hard to make these decisions really quickly. And so that was kind of his explanation, that they're trying to play a little bit of a different style. And so that's interesting. You know, if they want to play a little bit more fast, a little bit more loose, and try to get more comfortable when the game is not necessarily fully in control, I think that's worthwhile. You know, it's a long regular season here in spring, and if they're confident that they're going to be able to, you know, lock in when they need to lock in, then hey, there's nothing wrong with experimenting a bit in the first couple weeks.
As long as you make sure you get there. As long as you don't get eliminated before the playoffs, but I'm not really worried about that for LYON, to be quite honest with you. Contractz stops by the mid lane there. Again, they're just trying to keep Saint sweating, trying to keep him aware, but the Akali is not that pressured still, has half the health bar remaining, not forced to use the flash or the ultimate to escape.
No, and he's pretty much dead even as far as CS. In fact, he's a little bit ahead so far. So Saint looking comfortable in the matchup, even though Zinie was able to bring this out. And just going to be, it's going to be exciting. I mean, anytime you bring out a pick like this, I feel like the story of the game becomes about it, right? Because people are going to talk about it. People are going to have their opinions on whether it was a good pick, a bad pick, you know, what you should be doing or should not be doing. There's not a ton of solo queue data in this matchup, simply because Vex is just barely played. But it is an over 58% win rate of Vex against Akali in solo queue, which is pretty astronomical. And
over how many games? 58?
About 1,000.
Oh, okay.
And it's an over 9.6% higher win rate against Akali than the average champion.
Okay, so it is a good pick into Akali.
At least in solo queue, very successful against Akali.
Okay. Well, Shopify is going to go ahead and begin the first Drake of the game here for themselves, and it really doesn't look like LYON have a whole lot to say about it. The bottom lane has rotated over. Zinie has control over mid, so Contractz will pick that one up for free.
Yep. All things said, a pretty slow early game. I feel like LYON are going to be pretty happy about that, you know, given that mid lane got counterpicked, given that bot lane, you know, is kind of supposed to be prio for Bvoy and Seos.
Yeah.
This is the kind of lane that I think can spell a successful Yunara game. Of course, it does not guarantee that you just win because you win even in lane, but, I mean, you're only down under 200 gold to the Caitlyn right now. I think you're pretty happy about that. You also have an early cull, so really that gold lead is basically nothing. By the time you cash out, it's going to come right back to you. So
yeah.
I think Berserker and Isles have done well to just keep it as close as possible, and Bvoy and Seos need to try to keep pushing the pace. They're going to be moving up here. And having the Caitlyn move out towards Grubs, which is super atypical. Normally people do not put a high prio on Grubs at all. Maybe they're expecting there to be more of a contest here, because this is basically everyone from Shopify in the area. Now Caitlyn is heading down towards bot, but just surprised.
Yeah, they put a little bit of burst there onto Saint, but now immediately Inspired goes in after Zinie. Shopify trying to rally around their mid laner. Zinie staying alive for now, but the burst is coming through. First blood for Inspired. Saint's got to be careful, trying to get away. Cannot find himself over the wall as Inspired falls. Saint's about to die here too. Wants to try to escape, but where in the hell is he even going to go? Sure, he can flip over the wall. Gets through, but a magical journey, the blast cone. How long has it been since someone damaged him? Tempered fit. All right, he's dead.
Not long enough.
Nope. Contractz takes him out. Shopify comes out on top 2-1.
A bit of a wacky roam there from the Caitlyn, but it ends up kind of mattering. You know, at the end of the day, he does get involved. The question is, even with him getting involved and going up +1 on the kills, was it worth it? And my answer would be no, because direct your eyes to the mini-map. Look at the bot lane. You are losing this whole wave. He lost 2 plates as well. So even though Bvoy is over here, he pops the ace in the hole, goes on over to the fight, and LYON realize, oh crap, like they have an extra member, we can't actually continue the fight. So they do eventually lose 2 men, but it's Yunara on the other side of the map who took down 2 plates, who denied at least a full wave of CS, and now Berserker went from down 200 gold to up 100 gold. You did get that +1 kill. It's and both on Contractz. Exactly, first blood as well. It keeps it pretty even, so I don't know. I feel like despite the fact that it was that extra kill, I think it was actually better for LYON.
Yeah, having the first blood bonus plus those plates that you're talking about, and especially for the AD carries, like we're mentioning, Berserker on the Yunara wants to scale, wants to be more powerful. You already mentioned the cull being that sort of alleviator for the advantage that the Caitlyn might have in the early game. Well, what happens now when Berserker hits his quest earlier?
Exactly. I mean, this is the thing. You know, yes, it's a trade-off, right? Because Contractz got some gold. You know, there's some positives for Shopify for sure. But I just feel like if I'm playing Yunara, if I'm playing some sort of scaling champion, Yunara, Zeri, Jinx, whatever, and I'm in a lane that is really hard, and my lane opponent roams, I am just so happy, right? Like you are out of jail. Because in these kind of matchups, you're just trying to survive. And every minute that passes, every wave that passes without you getting slammed is one that is closer to you outscaling your opponent.
Yep. It's another tally in your column, right? That's the nature of the game for scaling champions. Up there in the top side, things are pretty even between Dhokla and Fudge here on the Gnar versus Renekton, 2 of those evergreen top lane champs. I don't really expect either one to slam the matchup here, but I am looking forward to when they get involved in the team fights. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a fight for the Rift Herald here in about 4 minutes or so, because I want to see how these two can affect those team fights. MasterCard Power Spike complete there. Sundered Sky for Inspired. Even though Contractz got the 2 kills in the fight, Inspired got the first blood like we already mentioned, so it's still just a slight advantage for Contractz in terms of the money as Shopify look to make their move on Saint. They catch him out there. Nice Cosmic Binding, locks him into the wall. Contractz sets it up and takes yet another kill. Isle's going to be their target next. Wild Growth on himself to stay alive. Contractz charges forward here with another EQ, and Zinie grabs the kill, but now he's under pressure. Shopify trying to get something here more as Inspired's down to 200 HP. Contractz picks him up. Berserker still fighting. Flashes over the EQ. He takes out Bvoy. Berserker is standing and fighting, and Contractz is about to drop. Isaac, I think Yunara's online.
Yeah, you can say that again. Last game,
I think Yunara's online.
Last game, it was a triple for Azir. This game, it is a triple for the Yunara. And Shopify, the initial play is cool. Look how they save the fear to be able to actually combo with the binding for the Bard, then the knock-up from the J4. But this is the problem. Your eyes are on Isles. You're chasing past the Yunara. Watch Yunara in this fight. Does get CC'd initially, hit by the Tempered Fate, bound up, but then everyone is attacking Inspired, and Berserker is just free-firing throughout this. Bvoy on the side is able to finish off Inspired, but then Berserker has killed off one, flashes past that flag and drag, has the barrier, knocks down Bvoy, Dhokla arrives, Contractz is gonna die too. That is the role quest complete, that is a triple kill. That is Berserker getting ridiculously ahead.
Kangas is, Steven.
Not now, Steven.
He's not.
We're trying to watch League of Legends.
He's not taking it very well. Raz, take him to the meeting. He's got some demons to work through.
That man needs help.
He's got some stuff to work through. Isles, however, working with Berserker, the Yunara Lulu combo. I talked about how bad the win rate is so far, but Lion's looking to fix that now. Seos gets away over the wall. Berserker being kept alive here with a wild growth. Has to use the ulti E to get back out of the Cataclysm as Shopify continues to look for more. Fudge has showed up. Berserker's going to be the target. Fudge goes in, call the meek for the initial damage, but Bvoy picks up the shutdown. Huge there for Shopify.
Yeah, really nicely done. Fudge obviously wanted to donate that to Bvoy. Got a little bit nervous, I think, that, oh, wait, is he going to get away?
Yep.
So went back for it, but the kill does go to Bvoy, which is important. You got to keep this Caitlyn relevant. Shopify battling back. And we're able to punish the fact that Berserker did not have sums. I will also say someone should have blocked the ace in the hole onto Berserker. You do not want him taking all of that random damage.
Yep.
Because if you actually block a little bit more damage for him, he could maybe stay in the fight, and then it's a very different look in that actual skirmish. Berserker, though, still closing in on cashing out on this call. He's going to be able to get this full wave because the cannon is tanking it up.
Yep.
Only 18 more minions to complete this. His lead was diminished there, but he is still up, 900 gold, and he's going to be up a good 1,000 plus easily here within those next couple waves as he cashes out the call.
And it's what you were talking about earlier. The fact that he's got a lead at all, you're just relieved. You're happy. You're going up against a Caitlyn that's supposed to be knocking down your tower, rotating to the other lanes at this point to continue doing that there as well. But we're 20 seconds away from the Rift Herald spawning, and this is what I said earlier. I want a team fight over this. I want to see everybody posturing, trying to control the vision, getting ready to fight for this one. Dhokla jumps in after Zinie, however, immediately feared as he tries to land that crunch. Wants to continue the chase because he's got Saint behind him. They know if they can kill off this Vex, it would be exactly what they need, but the Mega Gnar misses. Zinie still takes a chunk of damage. However, Dhokla also knocked down to about half HP. No teleport available on Zinie's Vex, so he's going to go back to base, heal up. Inspired has already started up the Rift Herald as the Tempered Fate from Seos does not hit a target in mid lane. Yeah,
Berserker gets sped up and is able to just kind of walk out of that. Trying to get back towards the tower. Nice traps from Bvoy, but he's able to just fit in between them and kind of just slides through. But in that bot side, Renekton has just been pushing. No one has answered Renekton for a long time. He took down the tier 1 bot, and he's been working on this tier 2 for a while now. And finally, we're going to see someone go down there and actually answer as Dhokla's going to be fighting him.
Yeah, Dhokla goes after him immediately. Lands a couple of procs of the Hyper as Isles rotates through. They might really commit to trying to get a kill onto Fudge here, but Contractz and Seos are both nearby. Polymorph onto the Dominus Renekton. As Fudge goes on a magical journey, Seos has to flash over the wall, keeping himself alive for now. Mega Gnar back into that same terrain he flashed over, though, and LYON get their pick.
They do get their pick at the end of the day. Seos, though, makes sure that it is just a support kill instead of actually turning into a kill on Fudge. Kind of gave his life to save the Renekton, to be honest. He throws down the magical journey to get him out, drops a health pack on him to give him a little speed up, and even with the flash, it does end up going down at the end of the day. And there is the call cash-in, so 1.4k gold lead now for Berserker. He's going to have his second item done here in a hurry, and that is a very big spike for Yunara. Once you're on 2 items, the power really starts to ramp up, and Zinie going for a build that I will say is pretty unexpected for me, going Blackfire Torch. I just kind of assumed it was going to be full-on burst, Luden, Shadow Flame, that type of kind of build, and we'll see how this does work out, because I just kind of struggle to see what Vex does if you're not one-shotting someone.
Yeah, well, Inspired jumps in for a quick burst here onto Fudge. Doesn't get a whole lot of damage, but he lets him know that he's here, and that gives enough space for Dhokla to just take down this tier 1 turret here in the bottom lane. Obviously, each side has already lost a turret thus far, so it's not like you're going to get the first turret bonus, but you're still opening up the map a little bit further. You're allowing Dhokla to continue to push, continue to take resources. You can see Contractz going for a back in that Fly Brush near the top side here at the same time.
Hex Optic C44 for the second item here. A bit unexpected for me from Berserker. Almost always you just see the Fiend Hunter bolts. But yeah, I mean, this item is just OP. I feel like it was OP even before the buffs, but people just kind of finally realized it after the buff. It is so easy once they reduce the maximum range needed to 500 to actually get that 10% damage bonus from it. Oh
yeah, like, you're always getting it.
Exactly, you're pretty much always getting it. And I believe they also made it cheaper in one of the patches. So this item is just super, super strong now. The Fiend Hunter bolts, though, obviously really synergistic with Yunara because it's really all about when you pop your ult and going in for that initial burst can be quite powerful. But this is obviously very strong. Could go towards IE next. I don't really feel like you need Armor Pen just yet because there's not really much being stacked up besides just that one tabbies on the top side from Fudge.
Yeah, Renekton's got shoes, but that's about it. There's no true tank on the enemy team. Two bruisers are the entire front line as Shopify wants to make a move on to Saint, but he kind of just walks away from it. TP also coming in there from Fudge, but it feels like Shopify did a whole lot for a whole little.
Yeah, I think it was actually LYON trying to jump onto Zinie at first because Saint was waiting in the brush behind him and Inspire was coming in. But then once the TP comes through from Fudge, they say, okay, no, we don't actually want this. So they get the TP commitment from Fudge. That means Dhokla gets a plate, and that means LYON just kind of walk out of there scot-free with one less man on that side of the map. And now it's going to be up to this dragon fight here. It is Ocean Soul. Shopify got the first two dragons. They want to continue stacking towards this, and LYON will have to try to retake through traps potentially, which can be difficult.
Well, Dhokla has established himself in this Ocean Rift brush with a control ward. Jarvan flag in there is going to see the control ward now as the Rift Herald is summoned up by Inspired. I expect this to be a battle herald. Let's see where it goes. Cupcakes blocking off the escape route there on the ramp. Berserker fires a shot into Seos, but Fudge is going to be the focus here at the very start of everything. Has to flash away, keeping himself alive for now as Inspired is also going to be bursted. It's a 1-for-1 here at the very beginning, but now Seos falls 2-for-1, favoring LYON, making a 3 as Contractz flashes for nothing. Dhokla barely staying alive through the headshot as Berserker again, the aggressive flashes to sidestep the enemy damage. Conmay's step underneath the enemy tier 2 turret just shoots him right in the face. Berserker is fearless on the Yunara.
Inspired just kind of flies into the backline. He dies, but he actually created so much chaos, bought a lot of space for the rest of the LYON members. Even though he goes down early, he just uses the Battle Herald here, goes right over the trap, and watch Inspired in the Herald. He's going to drive through multiple members, and he crashes into the tower, so he does get the shield as he pops out. Zinie instantly fears him. Bvoy's on him. Contractz turns. They do get this kill, but look at Fudge on the other side. He's knocked out of the fight. Berserker is completely untouched during this moment. So yeah, you did take down Inspired. Yeah, he does die. You know, you want to put air quotes for free or whatever, but it bought so much space for Berserker as well as Saint, and then Berserker just flashes over there. Is able to go in with the Conmay step, finish off a double. And you can see Rainover, he is liking what he is watching. Berserker, this is his kind of champ. You know, whether or not, you know, you believe that it's strong right now in this league, when I think of Berserker, I think of Zeri, I think of Jinx, I think of, you know, late game hyper carry. He is that guy.
He was the pentakill Pikachu, right?
Yep.
Back during Zeri, I feel like every week this guy got another pentakill. When I was looking at the pentakill stats in the league, I was like, all right, is this a real pentakill or is it another Berserker Zeri pentakill? Because these happen literally every single day the man plays the champion. But hey, you were talking earlier about his Fiend Hunter bolts that he didn't have. Guess what? Now he's got them.
There you go. Why not? Just get both. And this is the Tier 1 record for Gnar in Split 2, 24-49. So it's not just an LCS thing where it is struggling. You know, that is rough. That is down, you know, 32 point whatever % win rate thereabouts for the Yunara. But it's looking like it's going to be another one in the win column, I think, here.
It is certainly trending that direction. Maybe it's not just butt. Maybe there's something here. Maybe there's a diamond.
A diamond in the butt.
No, that doesn't sound. No,
that's what you were saying.
No, I was going to say a diamond in the rough. No, that is not what I am saying. What you just said is not comfortable or good. That actually sounds horribly painful.
Well,
as Berserker.
You're the one who brought it up, buddy.
No, I did not bring that up. Berserker got away. He uses his ult into the Conde step to sidestep.
I'm sorry for supporting my friend and co-caster with his analogy.
That is not what I said.
I'm so sorry.
That is not what I said.
For being with you through the good times and the hard.
The heart.
I couldn't get through it.
Bless it. Okay. Hey, Saint's in the Baron pit. He's getting poked a little bit there by Seos. Yeah, he's just trying to make sure they have control of vision over the area. Lion's up 4,000 gold, 22 minutes into the game. It's 10-7. The kills wouldn't lead you to believe that Lion is this far ahead, but man, they're honestly just in such a great spot, and 3/4 of the lead is Berserker's individual advantage over this Caitlyn Bard lane that we thought was supposed to be really oppressive.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. That was the intent. It did not work out that way, and again, it's really, you know, for Shopify, it's kind of heartbreaking because both games feel kind of the same, where it's going all right, but we might see a fight.
Okay, immediately Contractz jumping in after Berserker. Ace in the hole hits him, and the shutdown's there. Zinie gets the kill, and they take out the fed enemy AD carry. That is a big pick for Shopify, but what do they get after?
Yeah, I don't know. They can start Baron. They're going to go back in.
Okay, Zinie fires off the second Shadow Surge, but honestly, Saint responds with more damage, and I feel like this is the problem. Yes, you can make that big flashy play. Yes, you can commit all these resources to pick the fed enemy AD carry, and then you go home.
Yeah. The timing just wasn't there. I mean, it doesn't make it a bad play or anything, but if the Dragon was up, at least you'd be on soul point. Unfortunately for them, it just wasn't that timing. But this is obviously what you were looking for with the Vex. You're trying to find that angle where you can snipe out the Yunara, and if Vex can get in on the Yunara and get that one-shot, hey, it can definitely work, but that is going to be tough to replicate in another fight for sure. And Inspired will not actually find the Renekton here, who is recalling, and we're just going to be setting up 1 minute here for this
unless
next
J4 just enter me, they can never kill me. So if someone mark J4, then I can still fight.
All right, that's the name of the game. You got to mark J4, and then Berserker says, I can't die, period.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He's just calling out. He says, if Contractz can't ult me, I can't die. So that was kind of the call there. But a lot of damage went through. I mean, it was that initial engage from Contractz. Zinie obviously is able to get the fear down on him. And again, the ace in the hole was not blocked. It seemed like it snuck through around the side there. So Bvoy able to bend the bullet and get that one in. It is that 3K gold lead still for Lion. It is on Berserker where they would want it, and he has the summoners available for this next fight. So the question is, do Lion even get contested at this next Dragon? Does Shopify feel confident to actually fight here? They're going to TP and look for a pick prior to it, but Saint has spotted it.
Yeah, Saint on the Akali, very slippery champion. Going to continue trying to run, immediately feared, pops the smoke, continues trying to escape, another shuriken flip, wants to turn it around back onto Zinie, but no, the shutdown again goes to the Vex. Zinie 4, 2, and 3 here on this pocket pick, and now it's not the same story as before. It's not just a pick with nothing else you can do right after. They got a 5v4 as the Dragon spawns.
It's really nicely played by Zinie as well. He just gets point blank and uses the W to land that fear, make sure he's not going to miss with the Q or something like that.
Yep.
And does get themselves that kill. There's no TP on Saint either, so Shopify going for this. Inspired's in the back of the pit though.
Yeah, Inspired looking to potentially steal this one away. Zinie flashes in the middle of everybody, immediately goes golden right after. Berserker going to be the target here yet again. Flashes away from that Cataclysm, finds the kill to Contractz. Berserker is shredding everybody. Shopify lost the plot. If you don't kill Berserker, you don't win the fight. And Lion make them learn it the hard way.
Yeah, they full sent everything for Berserker, but they could not get through to take him out. He had the peeling there from Isles, from Dhokla. And I feel like they could have just slow played it and actually taken this, but instead, look at this. Zinie flashes in, they land the fear, insta-McHale's from Isles. The Flag and Drag does not land, the Cataclysm comes through, but then Berserker just flashing back, kiting out Contractz and Fudge. And at this point, there's no tools left for them. Dhokla had pinned Zinie, and on the other side, Inspired in a 1v2, kills the Caitlyn off as the Vi. Lion crushed the fight, down a man. They lose 0 members in the one fight.
Berserker is unfazed by it, but you can see the disappointment on the faces of the Shopify coaching staff. It's just like, okay, if we lost that one, this game's gone.
Yep, that was probably your last shot realistically.
Yep.
And I think, you know, it's a reasonable swing, but they just didn't quite have that full setup. And Bvoy trying to get in there to help out, you know, to finish off the Yunara, but getting soloed out by Inspired. Well, Berserker's able to kite it out on that other side. They just didn't have that perfect setup. I mean, Zinie was missing his ultimate from that side lane pick. You know, if he had that, that would have been big. Contractz, Flag and Drag didn't actually hit. Bvoy was missing his ult. You know, Contractz is getting kited out. So, you know, when you Flag and Drag and then you have to ult out of that just to reach, you know, like all your spells are down now, right? The only damage you have is just that Flagon Dragon, which is missed already. So your Cataclysm is going to do a couple hundred.
You have Martial Cadence with Sundered Sky.
Exactly. Like you're just not going to have the consistent damage to be able to actually knock down Berserker. Fudge couldn't actually close the gap. Zinie just got CC'd up by Dhokla. So well played there by LYON.
Okay, now Berserker going to be the target here yet again, but he has that pocket Lulu who even takes the bullet for him. This is the Yunara Lulu dream. This is what you want. Your hyper carry has scaled to 4 full power items. He's got Infinity Edge now, by the way. And Isles is never more than 300 units away from him.
Yep.
It's such a nightmare for Shopify.
It's like when you see those little kids and they're tied by the rope to their parents. That's the Yunara and the Lulu.
Yeah, exactly. Lulu's on the rope.
Lulu's on the rope.
On the rope in the Walmart. She is not allowed to go look at video games.
Come
while
on,
her
little
mom
buddy.
shops for groceries.
Come over here.
You're going with me, pal. It's time to buy some soup. We've got Fudge trying
Not
to...
even the fun kind, you know? Just like, you're not getting anything with lots of meat in it. It's just some tomato soup, you know?
Yeah, there's none of the noodles that are shaped like dinosaurs or chickens or anything like that. Just plain old tomato soup.
Or Isles.
Yep, Isles is...
there.
He's just got that little, it looks like a telephone cord with a little like rainbow thing on the end of it. I know what they look like. I remember seeing kids in the Walmart in middle of nowhere, Ohio.
That's Isles.
Yep, Isles is tied to his Yunara mom as Berserker is going to continue pushing the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Dhokla is the first one to break into the enemy base just by himself, forcing Fudge back, taking out the tier 3 turret. He's now exposed the inhibitor and he demands attention. Contractz and Zinie both rotating up here, trying to answer the Gnar. Meanwhile, it's a 3-pronged attack. Berserker is taking a little bit of damage here. Mall security has showed up. Apparently, he's hanging out in the store a little too long.
But where is Isles? Right there on the rope.
Right there
where you need him.
Right there in the soup aisle. Saint gets back here in the mid lane. Dhokla tries to jump in, go for the Mega Gnar. Finds a slam into the wall. Zinie goes golden, but Seos is already down. Saint grabbing that kill as he gets a double there. Enemy mid laner gone. The Vex win rate is not going up today as Berserker's looking to grab another one here onto Contractz. Killing spree for the Yunara. LYON pick up 4 kills. Fudge teleports 3 feet to his turret because there's nothing else he can do. It's the entire LYON squad. Not a single man died. Pushing onto the Nexus now, 18-9, 30 minutes into the game. This will be the first 2-0 LYON has played in these 3 weeks of spring, and they'll sweep Shopify Rebellion.
Nicely done there by LYON. Showcasing the skill of their carries here. Game 1 about Saint. Game 2 definitely about Berserker.
Yes, sir.
Shopify made it competitive. You know,